Vietnamese person during the day and a soldier at night.
Yeah.
You couldn't, because naturally suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize this at the time, but afterwards, after coming back and getting to see different people's I don't know what the proper word is I'm looking for, their take on it. Can you imagine what it would be like to have been a village person, and now you got the South Vietnamese coming at you, you got the Americans coming at you, you got the North Vietnamese coming at you, the Armans coming at you. All of these people, and each one of them are brutal.
Yeah.
Each one of those fighting forces could be very brutal. And, you got somebody come in and take one of your children, kill your child. Well, you're going to do anything they tell you to do.
Yeah.
And that was, I never even thought about that when I was over there. But afterwards, you go, oh wow, I don't know. I might do exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Appease you when you're here, and appease you when you're here, and appease you when you're there. And I don't know who I would be. After a while, you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Wow. So, even though there was a lot of bad moments there, was there days that you could find humor in things? Was there some funny things that had happened that you hold on to and remembered that you'd be willing to share?
Oh, you bet. Yeah. Yeah. For me, you made those close friends because you were with those guys 24/7.
Yeah.
You were in bunkers together at night. You were out on patrol with them. You ate with them. You showered with them. So you became close friends. And we were just like young teenage kids. We'd wrestle and carouse around and tease each other and hide stuff from one another. Just like any kids. One thing I remember is that when anyone went on R&R, they always brought back some kind of alcoholic drink, a fifth of whiskey, a fifth of scotch or whatever. So when they came back, we'd all get together and we'd just pass that bottle around till it was gone. Everyone did that, and that even made more tight bond because, they were thinking of us. So when they came back, they brought us that little gift, and we all shared it, and we were just like kids, horsing around and having good times when we were not actually out running patrols. When we went out to run patrols or came into combat, it was all business. I mean, serious, kicked in. No goofing around or anything. We all knew what we needed to do. We knew our job, and we knew that our buddy was going to back us up, and we were going to back them up. So, yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I'll be honest with you, I don't think I remember any good times. And that may be, they probably existed, but they weren't in the form of, oh boy, I'm really having fun here.
No, right.
But in Dave's situation, a bond. And there was one thing, I came from Sugar Creek, Missouri.
Yeah.
And back in that era, my brothers and sisters, prejudice was pretty strong in the city of Sugar Creek. I noticed right off the bat when I got to Vietnam that there is no prejudice here.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. This man that's in that foxhole next to you or right beside you, you didn't care what color he was.
Nope.
And as long as he did your job and you did your job, hopefully that allowed you to survive. And to this day, I've still encountered it about people that are still prejudiced. And that was one of the lessons I think that I value the most is I got rid of my prejudice in Vietnam.
Yeah. I'm
not a prejudiced person. I'm not a racial person. Sure, everybody, anyhow, that's how I feel about it now. I don't have that. I don't look at a black person as a black person. If he's a good person, it doesn't make no difference what color his skin is.
That's right.
And the bad people are in all kinds of colors.
Yeah. We were talking about that the other day, is that anytime you're in any branch of military, when you're there, you're just a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no anything. You take care of the person next to you and in front of you and behind you, and they'll do the same for you.
Y'all are in the same boat, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what your race is or
Exactly.
religion
Yeah,
or anything
I
like
agree.
that.
Yeah. I think the biggest there's a lot of things that have changed you from 50 years,
Sure.
but the last 2 years there's been something that Dave and I have been fortunate enough to go do, and we've taken the honor flight.
Yes.
It totally, it, if it's 100% total, 90% it changes your outlook of everything. I mean, the way people treat you. You know, when we got back from Vietnam, and I came back in '69, you were in, what, you same year?
68.
68. You didn't. I remember my nephew telling me. He made a comment at 4th of July parade. He says, "How come when the Vietnam veterans come by, you never stand up?" It was something in here that made me stay down. I wasn't proud of it because
Right.
nobody else was.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's, again, you see, holding myself captive. But I'll never forget that statement. And then when we went to Washington, D.C., I mean, just the way that people treat you, and that's been going on for a couple of years now. They treat us totally different. But while I was the last time I was in, we went to the Marine Corps, and there was a Afghanistan veteran who was one of our guides. The Afghanistan exhibit wasn't open, but you could stand up above it and see it. And I happened to be talking to him about it, and I said, "Wow, you know, you fought a totally different war. You know, we fought out in the bush. You fought inside the cities. You can't see around the wall. You can see on the other side of the hill sometimes." And I compared it, and Afghanistan and the Vietnam were pretty similar because they pulled the Vietnam people out.
Right.
They pulled the Afghanistan veterans out, and both of them probably felt like they didn't do what they came to do.
Right.
So when I talked to him, I said that, wow, you are a lot like the Vietnam veteran.
For sure.
But it was really just sitting there listening to him talk. It was, it's kind of like, I don't know, it was a blessing for sure.
Well, different perspective, but
If that villager is a Viet Cong by night and a villager by day, so we actually didn't run into any North Vietnamese until after, during Quai Son, actually running into North Vietnamese patrols when we were out on patrol, and as it got more into the siege of Quai Son, then our patrols were pulled back, and we didn't do anything until April, and then they released us to go back and start taking the hills back, and then we were actually fighting North Vietnamese regular combat troops. So uniform, military uniforms on them, capturing some of them, and of course dealing with daily combat with them. But yeah, it's totally different. More like that our units would experience during World War II. So yeah, it changed from being in the south part of I Corps with the Viet Cong to being in the north part by the DMZ, where you're actually confronting a military, North Vietnamese army. So yeah.
wow. You guys mentioned coming home. There wasn't a very well received homecoming for you guys. What was it like?
There wasn't any.
None.
No.
I don't remember. I don't remember anybody happy to see me, but not happy to say, here, thank you for serving in Vietnam for us, or for our country.
Yeah, the thing about
Yes.
that Vietnam War is that when we went overseas, we went over basically as individuals, even though we might all be in the plane together as veterans or military going to Vietnam, but you didn't go as an outfit. You didn't go as the 1st Battalion, 9th Marines were being shipped out to go to Vietnam. You went individually, you get to Vietnam, and they go, okay, we need 10 of you Marines, go over here, you're going to go with the 9th Marines. You 8 guys, you're going to go over here and go with the 26th Marines. So you're all split up, even though you might have made friends on that plane going over, then you get split up. But when you came back, you come back as individuals.
Yeah.
You know, you were on a transport plane that came back to the States with veterans from all over Vietnam. You get there and then you're dispersed everywhere. Army guys go here, the sailors go there, the Marines go here, and then when you come back home on leave, you're by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're on a plane by yourself, and they told us, at least my experience was, when I was at Camp Pendleton, after I come back from overseas to go home on leave, do not wear your uniform because there's too much protest on the Vietnam War. Mm-hmm. If you wear your uniform, possibly could get attacked or somebody's going to spit on you or whatever. If you have civilian clothes to wear those civilian clothes to go home on. You know, and you think, oh my gosh, I put that uniform on and I served my country, and now my country will not even appreciate. They're going to kick me and spit on me or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you wore civilian clothes to go home on. You know, it's just strange. You know, you think about, you know, your father's generation that come back from World War II and the parades and the public out cheering for them. You know, the Navy ships coming into port, and the Navy's all lined up there in their dress whites, and everybody cheering for them. Yeah, nothing like that for us coming back, even though you know, we served our country honorably, mm-hmm. but the public didn't see it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you guys were over in Vietnam, did you know about any of the stuff going on here?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Really?
I believed the you know, how you call it propaganda, but the bull that they were spreading, you know, it's not till afterwards where you still start listening to some of these protests, and you start looking, and you start doing your own investigation, and you go, wow, it really was about just making money, wasn't it? Somebody, a politician, and I want to call him LBJ, that's what his objective was.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
Just the economy of America.
Yeah.
we didn't know to the extent. You know, I knew there was protests going on and people draft dodging going into Canada to not be drafted into the military. We didn't know the extent of the protests that were happening. Yeah, we knew somewhat about it, but then when you get back to reality and come back here and then you get stationed somewhere, then you find out that it was growing in '68 and into '69 and '70. You know, the protest about this Vietnam conflict that we just experienced. So yeah, but we knew a little bit about what was going on back in the States.